Veterans, did you know that the DAV is available to help you file your claims and answer benefit questions for you? That's right, I'm one, and you can reach me on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays in the Grand Rapids Outpatient Clinic and every Thursday in the Muskegon Outpatient Clinic.
Welcome back. Dave Eling with the County Department of Veterans Affairs. In today's segment of Veterans Did You Know, as we're talking with Steve Pruitt, who is a service officer with the Disabled American Veterans. And Steve's job is that he goes out through this whole side of the state, and he's the man who files the claims for the veterans. He represents the veterans to the VA, gets the paperwork in to establish for any kind of service-connected disability or widow's pensions or anything to do with getting money from the VA for some disabilities. Steve's the man, and he's here every Monday. He's one of my service officers coming every Monday. And in the last segment, we were talking about documentation, and Steve said one of the most important things you need to bring with you is a certified copy of your DD-214 or your discharge papers. And the other one we touched on was your medical papers. If you got a child that's in the military right now, and you write them a letter, or they're home on leave, you need to tell them that anytime they're injured for any reason, they need to go to the dispensary, and then they need to get a copy of that medical record. Just like if you're going to a civilian doctor, that's your records, and you need to have a copy of it. And don't depend on somebody else to archive that for you or to store that for you or keep it on file for you. You need to get that yourself so that when you come home and you have a service-connected disability, you were injured, and you come to see Steve, say, hey, Steve, here's where I was injured, and here's where the medical records from the VA, because they want the VA, from the active duty military, because the VA wants to hang their hat on something. You say you hurt your back, show me where you hurt your back. So
that's right.
You give them the things that, look here, I was in the hospital, I was injured when I fell off a truck, or I got run down, or I hurt my back lifting something, and they treated me while I was on active duty, and here's what they said I had going on with me. That's what you have to have. You have to show them that you were injured, or you got ill, or some kind of sickness, or whatever the case may be, where you were treated. So tell your kids and you vets, get a copy of your discharge, of your medical records, and keep that in your person. So, okay, now I come to see you, I brought my discharge with me. I say I hurt my back, and here's my medical records where I was treated in the military. Now what do we do?
Well, we're going to sit down, and I'm going to begin to ask you some questions and try and pick your brain a little bit about when the injury happened, what kind of treatment you received as a result of that injury. And one thing that I'm running into a lot of these days is our servicemen and women are being told, oh, suck it up and deal with it. Don't do that. That's the worst thing you could possibly do, is sucking it up and just dealing with it the best you can, popping a few ibuprofen and continuing to push on. The reason I say that that's the worst thing you could do is because then you don't have any documentation that shows that you were hurt. And let me tell you something, folks, I guarantee you that when you get older, arthritis is going to start to settle into that injury, and you're going to wish that you had gotten documentation, because without that documentation, you have no verification to show the VA that you were injured while you were on active duty. So what you need to do anytime you get injured, go get medical treatment. Go see the corpsman. Go to sick call. Go to the dispensary. Do whatever you have to do, but don't suck it up. That's the worst possible thing you could do. And then after I pick your brain a little bit, what we're going to do is we're going to start some paperwork. Now, the paperwork, this is the tedious part of it. It can take up to an hour to complete some of the paperwork, and sometimes it can take a little bit longer. But when you come to see me, you're going to need to have time. I do have a pretty long line of people waiting to see me at times, so you're going to need to make sure that you have time to sit and wait to see me, and then you're going to need to make sure that you have time to actually help me complete the paperwork that we need to send in to get your claim started. With this paperwork, like I said, it's very tedious and can be kind of time consuming, but if we don't have specific information on there, the VA will return that paperwork to you and ask you for specifics. So that's what we need to make sure that we do.
So, but if I file a claim, or if I come to see you and you put the initial paperwork in, and people need to understand, that's when the clock starts ticking.
Yes.
And what is the average right now, Steve, for a normal claim coming through? Are we still about 6 to 9 months? Is that what we're doing? Are we a little better than that, or what?
Actually, it has increased a little bit because right now, with the economy being in the shape that it's in, there are more people than ever that are filing claims and looking for help anywhere they can find it. So right now, your average claims processing time can run up to 12 to 18 months. The reason for that is usually because maybe there's a lag in gathering some of the medical documentation. So that's why we want to try and make sure that you have everything that you need when you come to see me, so that we can try and expedite that process a little bit. But if you've had treatment with a medical or a civilian doctor, sometimes the VA has to wait for that doctor to send those documents on your behalf, and that can create some lag time. So for right now, they're averaging about 12 to just a little bit over, and as much as roughly 18 months on a first-time claim. Now, that's not for new veterans that are coming home. OEF and OIF veterans, which are Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation Enduring Freedom, these guys that are newly discharged get priority processing. VA is committed to completing their claims within the first 6 months of them being separated from active duty.
But if there's an upside to that, the day that you sign that claim and Steve files it for you, that's your start date. So if it does take 12 months or 18 months and he awards you whatever percentage, and it's in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50%, and it starts about 150, can go all the way up to 100% is about 2,300, isn't it? 2,600, something like that?
2673 for a single veteran with no children, 2823 for a married veteran with no children.
But that's retroactive back to the date that you filed your claim. So if it takes a year or 18 months, you get a nice little healthy check. So but don't be discouraged by the time frame waiting, because it's a process. And again, like Steve made a good point, if you're seeing a civilian doctor and you're being treated for something that happened in the military, and you got a nice job, you're a teacher or whatever, and you got good insurance, and that insurance is paying for it, you still need to get that documentation, because you're being treated for an injury or a condition that was started in service, and that will just substantiate your claim. So
exactly.
Instead of waiting for Dr. Jones over here to send the information in, and go to yourself, say, Dr. Jones, give me all the stuff that you have on me in my medical records where you treated me for my back, because I'm filing a claim against the VA for an injury and I need that documentation. Instead of waiting for them to get a letter from the VA, and then the doctor get around to making copies and send it. You could expedite a lot of stuff by coming prepared and getting everything in there, so your claim goes through the first time, and there's not a great big delay on it.
That's right.
That's the important part too.
Yes, it is.
It's your responsibility. If you like filing your income tax, if you want to wait to the deadline in April, you're not going to get your money back. But if you want to fast track it and file now, because you took the initiative, you get your money back sooner. So it's kind of the same concept. Got to take another little break here. We'll be back just a couple minutes, so stay with us. Got some more information that you're going to want to hear. Thank you.